Kicking Country 103.1. Good morning, 809. I have got in the studio with me Officer Zach Upton with our Sanangelo Police Department. Good morning, Zach.
Good morning.
Always great to visit with you. When last we talked, you were looking for new applicants.
Yes, we are.
And still are.
And we still are. We're just a lot closer to the deadline to apply now.
All right.
The deadline to apply for our next civil service exam is this Friday, so the 15th of April at 5 p.m. And that's
Not 501.
Not 501, at 5. If you really want to be good, maybe turn it in Thursday and make sure you're good.
Yeah.
But 5 o'clock p.m. at Human Resources, which is 72 West College, which is City Hall.
Okay.
You cannot pick up this application at 4 o'clock and expect to have it done at 5 o'clock.
It takes a little time.
It takes a little time. You have to have birth certificates, high school transcripts, diplomas, all kinds of documents, Social Security, driver's license. So there's several documents. You have a majority of them probably laying around, but there's a couple you might have to dig for. So definitely, get on it as fast as you can.
Like today.
Like today or tomorrow would be good. We understand the people that grew up elsewhere that getting a high school transcript can take a little bit. So if that's the only document you're missing, go ahead and turn it in and we'll accept it as long as you've put in the request to get your transcript.
All right. Good.
The actual written exam will be the following, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, the 23rd at 8:30 a.m. So that's going to be basic writing, language, math skills. You really don't have to know anything about law enforcement. It'll give scenarios that are law enforcement scenarios, but the answer's right there. You don't have to be able to know things off the top of your head for it.
Okay.
And then the following Saturday, the 30th, is when we will do the physical exam, and that's where you do the sit-ups, the push-ups, the mile-and-a-half run, all the fun stuff.
See what kind of shape you're in.
Yes. And we're not too crazy on it. Like the mile-and-a-half run is 17:38. I know a lot of people that we get military, they're having to do it in 10, 11 minutes. So 17:38 is not a horrible, goal that you can't make it to.
You can take a pace that's okay. All right.
Still got to work for it, but you should be able to make it.
Okay.
So that's the requirements to get on for the process of testing.
Well, now let me ask you before someone even picks an applicant or an application up, they need to ask themselves a couple of questions as far as there are certain things that disqualify them automatically from being on the police force. Kind of run a few of those down for us.
Of course, any felonies, that's an automatic. And then actually Class A misdemeanors are an automatic disqualification. And that's going to be deferred adjudication or a conviction. A lot of people think deferred doesn't count. It does. It's just kind of a slap on the hand.
Right.
But it will count against you in this application. And then Class B misdemeanors are 10 years from the date of either the deferral or the conviction. So if you got a dismissed or dropped, you're okay. But if it's dismissed or deferred or conviction, you have to wait 10 years from the date of the actual conviction. So really, it ends up being about 11 and a half years after you did it,
right,
that you're eligible.
Okay.
And then other things, driving record, you can't have more than 2 moving violations in the past 3 years. And that's a sort of a revolving deal. So if you had 2 years and 11 months ago, you're a month away from it being eligible. You don't have to wait 3 years for them all to be gone. You just have to wait till you're below the 2,
okay,
or below the 3. So once you hit that third one, you're not eligible. So.
All right.
So those are kind of the main things that get people. But I mean, there's a mile-long list of little things that sort of go together. But usually it takes several of those things before it's a disqualification.
Now, let me ask you one more thing here, and that is, okay, after you've taken the written exam, after you've taken the PT test, what happens then?
Okay. You pass both of your exams. Then you do what we call a mini board, and that's just sort of a generic job application interview. It's, the why you want to be here, stuff like that. Once you pass it, you then continue on to the background phase. We'll give you what we call a personal history statement. It's about 30 pages long and covers everything from the day you were born until today. And,
Okay.
And that's sort of the starting point for the background. We then start with whoever had the highest score on the exam and work our way down to the lowest score on the exam and get all the backgrounds done. That's the longest part of the process. So there's a lot of waiting during that time frame because sometimes we have 20 backgrounds to do, sometimes we have 40 or 50 backgrounds to do, just depending on how many applicants make it to that point.
All right.
So it takes a good while to get through that. Once we get through the backgrounds, part of the background is a polygraph exam. And then pass all that, you then do what we call the final oral board. That's where you go before the chief, assistant chief, lieutenants, and actually you'd be offered a job at the end of that interview if you do well.
Then you would end up the...
And then you get a contingent job offer because you still have to pass a medical, psychological, and physical before it is actually completely approved. So it's a very long process. It's about 6 months for the whole process.
And then you finally enter the police academy?
Then you finally enter the police academy. You are paid while in the police academy. You have a guaranteed position with a department as long as you make it through all your training and everything successfully. So, I mean...
How long is the police academy?
The police academy runs about 7 to 8 months, just depending on holidays and stuff that we have going at the time. And it includes, of course, the basic academy that the state requires, plus we incorporate our own policies and city ordinances and stuff like that into it. And then we also get extra certifications for your taser and pepper spray and rifle and stuff like that that are above what the basic academy really requires.
Folks, you just got an overview of what it takes to be one of San Angelo's finest, and there's a lot of training, a lot of background, a lot of just a lot that goes into it.
Yes, and I don't want them to be scared of everything that goes into it. I mean, if you know deep down that you're a good candidate, give it a shot. It's a long process, so it's better to start it now than it is to wait and then think, oh my gosh, I missed it. Because I mean, if you think about it, in a month, you're going to end up waiting for quite a long time before you'd be hired.
All right, folks, anybody just joining us, you're about to run out of time for the San Angelo Police Department's recruitment that's going on right now. Let's just quickly work the deadline in again and how to download their applications, ask questions, that sort of thing.
Okay. Deadline is this Friday, the April 15th at 5 p.m. The application must be turned in by that time. The test will be Saturday, April 23rd at 8:30 a.m. And then the PT exam will be Saturday the 30th. We haven't set the time on that, but usually it's about 10 a.m. when we start it. The application you can get off sanangelopolice.org. We have a recruiting tab across the top, and then you can click on testing dates, and there's an application there. Or you can pick it up at City Hall or also at 505 South Chadburn, which is the community services office for the police department.
All right. Zach, I appreciate the in-depth look at the application process and just the overall becoming a police officer process.
Sure. Thank you.